Yo, what is up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. We got a nice little sunrise here in the background. It's like 6:30 in the morning right now. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about something special to me. Why is the F3x BMW, in particular those of the B58, why are they some of the best daily drivers out there, and why should you buy one? And if you don't already know, hi, this is my 2019 440i X-Drive. Obviously this car is not stock, but I can talk about this because I've owned this car when it was stock, so I can give a pretty good review about what owning this car is like when it is stock. And I want to preface this by saying that I'm talking about the 2018 plus models, the LCI models of the 340 and the 440, and that's because these come with a whole bunch of upgraded features, such as those xenon headlights. And my favorite difference between LCI and pre-LCI on these 440s in particular are these beautiful LCI taillights. But first things first, let's get the nitty-gritty out of the way. Let's pop this hood. Obviously under this hood is a very special engine. This right here is the Gen 1 BMW B58. And so far I've done a couple things under the hood, just your average B58. We got a catless downpipe down there from CTS Turbo. Right here we have a BMS Elite cold air intake. And then we also have an MHD Stage 2 tune flash to the car. And believe it or not, the mileage on this particular engine is actually pretty high when you're comparing it to most of the standard B58s. This one's actually sitting around 120,000 kilometers right now, which is like 80,000 miles, I believe. I haven't had a single issue with this engine so far, and I hope to keep it that way, knock on wood. Clearly, I can tell that the previous owner did his maintenance. Right now, I'm doing oil changes every 5,000 kilometers like it's recommended when you have a tuned engine. And I also put in 94 octane fuel in this car, also contrary to the recommendation of 91 octane, the same way that you're recommended to do oil changes every 8 to 10,000 kilometers on these cars from BMW. So that's that in regards to the B58 in terms of its reliability. I'm also very, very happy with the spec that I got. I got the M Performance Power Kit option from the factory that the previous owner got on here. And next up, let's get into the comfort of this car. Holy f***, it's cold outside. I would start the car up with valves open, but there's literally an undercover cop sitting right there, so I'm gonna kind of tread lightly here. Please go away. Good. So firstly, let me just start by saying that this car is insanely comfortable, especially with stock suspension. I'm on H&R lowering springs right now, which don't make that much of a difference in terms of comfort, but the stock suspension on this car is absolutely insanely comfortable. And part of the reason for that is because you have 4 different drive modes, and this car actually comes with the M adaptive suspension. So you have a little electronic module in your strut that changes the ride quality depending on what drive mode you're in. And those 4 drive modes are controlled by this little rocker switch right here that says Sport and Eco Pro on it. So if you hit the down switch, that puts you into Eco Pro mode here, and it also switches your digital display to this beautiful kind of blue color. If you go into comfort mode, it's just your basic drive mode. It goes with your most comfortable suspension, and your throttle response is all right. It's just perfect for daily driving. When you go into sport mode, you can also configure it so you can still have that comfortable suspension, but your throttle response is way better, and you can just speed up and pass anyone wherever you want. And as soon as you go into Sport Plus, that's when everything is basically unlocked. So it turns on dynamic traction control, which means that you can put out all the power to the ground. And Sport Plus is obviously where your suspension stiffens up and you really get that kind of rough ride quality. But the beauty with this car is that you can switch it back to comfort mode whenever you want and get that very comfortable suspension. And the biggest thing is that even when you have a catless downpipe and the car is super, super loud in sport mode with valves open, you can control that whenever you want, so it's not always a loud car. As soon as you put this car into Eco Pro or Comfort, this car is super quiet. It sounds like any other regular traffic on the road, but as soon as you go into sport mode or Sport Plus, your valves open up on your exhaust, and it's loud, but it sounds amazing. I love the tone of the B58. In terms of fuel consumption, the car isn't bad at all. Right now I'm averaging 10.8 liters per 100 kilometers. I'll put the miles per gallon right under that. And I find myself filling up my tank about every 4 to 5 days with a full tank. Each tank costs me around 80 to 90 Canadian dollars, depending on where I'm filling up. So overall, in terms of fuel consumption, I'd say it's comparable to the average inline 6 or 6-cylinder engine, especially because this one's tuned. It's actually pretty impressive how good the fuel economy is that I'm getting, considering that I drive mostly in comfort mode and sport mode. This interior is also very, very comfortable. You got this beautiful M Sport steering wheel that most of the F-Series cars come with. Please don't buy this car if you don't have one with the M Sport package. The steering wheel looks horrible, the bumpers look horrible. It's just not a good car. Please don't buy an F-Series BMW without the M Sport package. But I have to say my favorite part of the interior is definitely that digital dash right there. It just makes such a big difference, especially when you're switching drive modes. The way that it just switches like this is so cool, and it just kind of adds that touch of luxury to this interior. But something that I get asked a lot is how the backseat space is on this car, because it's a 440, obviously it's a 2-door coupe, and everyone's always asking how much space does the backseat really have? Is it even possible to take 4 people in this car instead of 2? Well, let me show you right now. In order to get into the backseat, all you got to do, you just got to pull this switch forward, and you got to hit this little forward button, and it gives you enough room to get into the back. Once you're in the back, you just pull the seat back and you hit the back switch, and that's the average for where I sit. I'm about 5'10", 5'9", and I can still fit about 3 fingers here in between my legroom. I can see how it can get uncomfortable after 3 hours, but overall, if you're going for like a 30-minute drive, for example, I don't see any reason why you can't take 4 people in this car, because the back is actually pretty roomy considering it's a coupe. And also while we're here, a big shout out to my sponsor Smool for these amazing air fresheners. They come with a little pod that you can just put inside them with different scents, and it smells really nice when you're inside your interior. One of my favorite parts about my interior is also the OEM accessory that it comes with. It's called Dior Sauvage. I keep it in this little cup holder down here. It has its own exclusive spot. Just look at that. Best accessory out there. And I can just say through common sense that if you have a family, if you're hauling around 3 people on a daily basis, don't buy a 440, please. Buy a 340 instead, so you can actually have 4 doors and you can have back seats with doors that you can actually get into, so it's not a pain in the ass to get into every single day. Trunk space is actually very, very good for a coupe. I can fit a whole lot of things in here. Right now I just have my gym bag, my backpack, and obviously a toolbox. Because it's a BMW, you need to keep one of these around, even though it's reliable. One other thing that's really cool about the F-Series BMW is that they come with OEM oil in the back in case you start leaking. But that hasn't happened to me yet. Knock on Laguna Blue. But overall, that's my review on this car, especially as a daily driver. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you think that the 340 and the 440 are some of the best daily drivers out there. I think they are. I've had 0 issues with this car and absolutely love driving it. In the winter, it's very good. In the summer, it's very good. It's just all around a really, really good car. And the car also just looks amazing. I love the Laguna Blue wrap on it. The fitment's nice now that I lowered it, and it's just perfect. So a huge thank you to everyone watching. Merch coming soon, link down below at shopdario.ca. I can't wait to share that with you, and thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.